All good? All right. So, team, welcome to Data Scraping 101. This is just for us for now. And if you find value in it, then maybe I can present it to other people as well. But essentially, this is going to assume that you're a GTM professional and you're already in the space and you understand the value of how important data is for every business and how to most effectively get data from where it's usually kind of difficult to get data from. So, first of all, what is data scraping and why should we care? So, data scraping is essentially when you're pulling a lot of data from a website or an application. And the big problem that you'd face is that there's a ton of data on a website, and to make sense of it or to actually use that information for something, in the past you would have to manually go copy and paste that data into a spreadsheet, and then from there you would kind of take decisions or take actions on that data. Well, thankfully it's 2025. We don't have to do that anymore. No more pen and paper required. What used to happen in the past was GTM engineers, especially people in sales and BDR roles, one of their major jobs was to find prospects. I mean, that's the big job description for BDRs, especially sales development research representatives and BDRs. The key part of their job is to find leads, and for that they would have to go and crawl across websites and try to find who's a good fit and who's not. So they were spending so much time on that. But with the advent of data scraping, it's become straightforward to collect a large amount of information within seconds. And we can automate all of this using scripts. So we are able to pull prospect information, email addresses, phone numbers, business details, all sorts of intelligence and firmographic and demographic information that you couldn't do previously. Now, why should you really care? Like, the issue is that the more your BDRs are spending time on prospecting and manual data collection, well, that's lost sales and lost opportunities for your business, right? So, would you rather have your BDRs and SDRs working on actively nurturing prospects, or would you have them rather trying to collect data? So solve data collection, solve lead generation, and move on. Let your BDRs thrive. Your competitors are already accessing information that's public on the internet. They're using that right now in their business intelligence. So everyone else is scraping. So you have to keep up or you will get left behind. And Clay specifically, Clay's revenue growth comes from exactly solving the problem of making data available for scale for companies to use in business intelligence and business decisions. So why should you scrape? Well, of course, the first thing is like save time. 50% efficiency gains, that's what you're looking at compared to manual copy and paste work. 70% reduction of time in prospecting, lead increases, faster speed to lead, and of course, like, you can save money by letting BDRs concentrate on other parts of their job, so you can save money and in manual labor costs. So now that we know why you should scrape, let's actually talk about how you can scrape. So essentially, imagine that every single website that is public facing has information on it, and if that information can be harnessed to make better business decisions, then it's worth scraping. So in the past, what you would take a look at is, like, for example, if you had a database of all local businesses in, let's say, Florida, or all the local businesses in London, and you wanted to go and you wanted to pitch your services to that business, like if it's a laundromat or if it's an office for rental space, what you would have to go is like, go to their website, go to Google, and then manually copy and paste all of the business information. But the first time scraping ever it occurred to people, you could run simple Python scripts and you could just capture information into your own system. That was the old way of doing it. Then came tier two. That's when people started realizing, oh, we can actually scrape data at scale, and we can use these really powerful servers instead of relying on my local computer, which might be really old or doesn't have enough computation power. So let's use servers to extract data with the volume of like millions of records, and let's serve people with those sort of advanced data needs. And then finally, tier three is more and more relevant to us as we're going into 2025. It's been here for a while. So instead of using just programming languages and scripts, you're actually having AI take a look at data and then having AI make sense of the data that you're already parsing. So we're going to be jumping into all of these three tiers now. The first year, and this was like the most primitive, the most rudimentary way. You can download Google Chrome extensions, or you can run Python scripts on your computer. Let's say you had like this page over here where you have a website that has a list of all of these tools. Then what you would do is you would take a look at the HTML tags. So the title tag, the paragraph tag, and then what you would try to do is exactly match those bits of information and try to scrape them all and organize them into a database. Now, you can obviously guess this is not going to be entirely accurate. It's if one of the websites breaks a rule or if there's formatting issues, then your whole program is kind of worthless. So if the website isn't formatted exactly the way that you want it to be, your scrapers are going to break, and yeah, you would have to spend so much time programming, reprogramming, trying to solve for bugs, etc. So that's why we have left this behind now. So we don't use like local scripts and Chrome extensions to scrape anymore. The next one is tier two, which is advanced integrations. Here's where we have tools like Apify and Zenrose. So what these tools are doing actually is they're actually hosting on powerful servers, and they're specializing in technology stacks that already have really valuable data. LinkedIn, social media, TikTok, Crunchbase, all of these companies are a treasure trove of information, Apollo. So it's very valuable to go to these websites and try to get the data into your own databases so that you can make decisions and business intelligence, gather business intelligence, extract contact information, etc., based off of that. But to do this at scale, your computer is probably not going to handle it. If you go and if you try to scrape these websites, you're going to get banned. They can very quickly figure out that you're using some sort of a program for it. You'll get banned and you'll probably be in violation of terms and services. So that's why these actors in Apify, they are hosted on powerful servers. They have proxies, so they have like anti-detection scripts so that it looks like a human being is actually scrolling through the data. And then you can capture all of that information and then export that to Clay, export that to Google Sheets, to HubSpot, to Salesforce, wherever your data is stored. And that's how we can get advanced integrations going. So we have pre-built scraping actors with a lot of platforms where you can scrape and extract all of this information out of there into your own business. And then the final tier is LLM enhanced web scraping. This is the era that we're in now. So instead of like relying on Apify or Python scripts, what LLMs and AI models have become really good at doing is by reading, they can read websites and they can read the content on the websites, and they don't need to, they already have an understanding of HTML and CSS and all of these programming languages. So they can, they don't need to just look at the technical part of it. They can actually make sense of the data on the page. So they can look at a company page and they can say, here's the useful information on this page that might benefit you as an organization. That's LLM enhanced web scraping. And we have so many ways to do this, which we can jump into just now. And I'm super excited to show you some real life use cases on how to do this. So let's jump into this tier, which is where, as GTM engineers, we should always be either relying on tier two and tier three. And right now, I'm going to take a look at tier three for you. So this is the modern scraping stack. There's a lot of options out there to scrape data, but my best bet is that within all of these tools that are on the page right now, probably 99% of the use cases can be covered within these four modules. Like there's a way to get data out. So I'm actually going to exit out of the presentation, and I'm going to show you real life examples of how I can actually get data out. So the first one and the most promising one is Firecrawl. Now, Firecrawl is making data scraping really smart, and it's making data scraping really intuitive. So just like how you can go on ChatGPT and say, hey, help me create a paper on advanced physics, etc. You can, Firecrawl is trying to be, they're positioning themselves as a data provider where you can naturally speak to it, let it know, hey, here's the business need that I have, help me extract the data that I need. So for example, what we can do over here is I will show you an example. So there's a website, Intercom. Intercom is one of the world's most popular chat website chat tools. So if you see this little bubble, you can actually chat with people on your website. Now, Intercom is dominating the market. So one of the pages on their website is the /customers page, where you can actually see which companies are using Intercom in their business. Now, imagine if you're a startup that's recently, you've got some funding and you're trying to build a competitor to Intercom. Let's say you have better features than them, you have better pricing for them, and you're also focused on enterprise. So what would be, from a GTM point of view, what would be the most effective way for you to go and try to sign enterprise clients? Well, you've got 120 customer stories on this page over here, and there are real people using real companies using Intercom. So why wouldn't you go and scrape all of these companies and figure out if there's a way to get in touch with the people at this company and pitch them your Intercom competitor, right? So that's what Firecrawl can help you excel in. So I have a prompt over here. From this Intercom customers page, extract the company name, website, and logo URL for each company that's showcased here. And if also possible, extract the name and the title of the person who gave the testimonials. So for example, over here, you've got Ellie Neal from Honeybook. So we can ask the LLM to do that. So this is using the Fire One agent, which is a really powerful agent. And the best part about Firecrawl is it can extract data in a structure. So we're all familiar with JSON, and Clay loves JSON. It's easy to pull JSON into Clay and then have Clay create rows out of it, right? So here's what we can do. So I asked it to parse this, and here's 110 company items with all of their websites. So that's Anthropic, the person who gave the review, the logo of the website, the name of the person, and their titles. And this, of course, we can pull all of this into Clay, and we can get their work emails. I'm just going to make sure if everything is good with this Zoom call. With the Zoom call, can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so sorry about that. Okay, I'm so sorry about the interruptions. Cool. So this is how you can now intuitively and very, very efficiently scrape data from Firecrawl. Now, another really promising one, and one that we're all familiar with, is Claygen. So I'm not going to go too much in depth into Claygen because everyone knows how to use it. But just a quick hack that I'll give you is if you've got a Claygen that's, for example, it's trying to scrape a website and extract structured data. So for example, if there's an animal hospital where there's veterinarians, you can actually get people, you can scrape them out of here. Just a good practice that you can use the Clay enrichment called find sitemap URLs for a company. It doesn't cost any Clay credits. So it will actually crawl the website first to find all of the pages on this website. And then you can feed these pages into the LLM so that you are reducing the chances of the LLM making mistakes. So what I've found is that it actually performs better all the agents perform better once you give them a sitemap URL um, for the website first, so that they don't face overwhelm and they're like, oh my god, where should I start looking first? So this actually really helps. So hopefully you can use this whenever you use Clayagent next. And now we can move on to my favorite scraping agent, and I truly believe like this is the future of scraping. Right now, the way you scrape data is like you try to write a computer programming script that tries to figure out how the data is organized, etc. Da, 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 da. But the future of data scraping, in my opinion, is something called browser use or computer use agents. So what they are is they're a very powerful AI model that's able to browse and use the internet just like a human being would. So they're controlling your browser and they are able to do exactly what you're doing, but they can do it with the intelligence of some of the best models out there. So we all know like O3 from ChatGPT, Claude 4, they're highly intelligent models. Imagine them on your side to be able to look at a website just like you would look at it and being able to analyze data. So for this talk, I've actually prepared an example for example, if I wanted to get a list of all of the people on my LinkedIn who are posting about GTM stuff and they're thought leaders, right? And I want to kind of connect with them and I want to start pitching them their service. So all I have to do is like go to browseruse.com and I can use Claude 4 or O3 or one of those really smart models to say, hey, log into my LinkedIn, scroll posts that are related to GTM, and then create a CSV file of all the people who are really respected thought leaders. And then the cool thing is you can actually see the computer agent going through my LinkedIn and it analyzes all of the data, it pulls them, it identifies them, and then finally it creates a CSV file for me for all of these people who are my target market. So there's a CSV. Now I can pull this directly into Clay or any other sequencer so I can start to get in touch with these sort of people. So I truly believe like in the future, we will be, all of our data is going to be just AI models controlling our computer or at least acting on our behalf to go and get the data that we need. So here's some of my favorite scraping tools, and this is always going to be a work in progress. So if you feel you want to, you can screenshot this. Anything that you're looking for scraping, I believe in the first 4 should solve 95 plus percentage of all of your needs. So whatever that you need to do, and then you can keep going down the list in case it doesn't get solved by the first 4 or 5 tools. So feel free to snapshot this and play around with them. A lot of them have free plans. So hopefully all of this is valuable to you. And just a quick overview, because it would be remiss to talk about scraping and not talk about compliance. Always remember, especially when it comes to enterprise data, you are using best practices and you are fully compliant with all of the terms and conditions of the platforms that you're trying to access. So never ever bypass login walls. Don't ignore robots.txt. Don't DDoS servers trying to like make 10,000 requests. And then finally, just know that if you're trying to extract data from platforms that make their money on selling that data, they don't want you to do that. So they are going to be very quick to try and stop you from scraping data, or they will try to ban you if they figure out that you're trying to extract the data. So always be mindful about compliance. Always check the reviews of data scrapers. Always check customer reviews and be extra careful that you're not in violation of any data laws before you go and scrape data. So that about brings me to the last 5 minutes. This is obviously a primer on data scraping. I can't go super deep because this is almost like a 3-hour webinar where actually we can go through use cases. But yeah, if you would like me to do like more sessions, feel free to like let me know. But over here, I'm going to open the floor up for questions. And if we have time, I don't mind going over, we can answer your specific questions. And yeah, anything that I can help answer for you, I'll hand it off to y'all.
Yeah, that's so awesome, Tanay. Like the browser use that you've showed, like that's interesting because it's basically you using the platform. That's cool. And the fire crawl one as well. Yeah, that's awesome. Really valuable tonight. Thank you.
I'm
And
so happy that it helped.
oh, sorry. But it's like this is super new for me, so I'm learning a lot, and I cannot wait for like the next session that we go to like a more technical stuff. But would you mind just as Joy said, like sending the slide and also the recording of this session, because I really want to like start building stuff and using Amplify and Firecrawl more with end.
Of
Plus,
course.
I see your post as well, and I really want to like ask you more about that workflow that you built.
Of course, I'm more than happy to. Yeah, this is a primer. So what would be really useful is if you can come to me with like a specific use case. The best way to learn scraping, at least in my opinion, was by actually scraping data. Like if you can figure out, let's just say identify a data source and then set yourself a challenge. Let's try to scrape this data out of here. So like I did for Firecrawl, and then you can also try it on some of our clients' use cases where, for example, they are trying to get a list of all the veterinary doctors who work at a clinic and then extract them uh, into into a team database. So those sort of projects are going to be very, very useful for you to be working on. So feel free to come back to me with something that I can help you solve, and I'm more than happy to oblige. Yes, Mark, sorry.
Awesome. Yeah. One question that I had, let's say for a specific example, let's say it's Crunchbase, right? And they profit from selling this data. What's like the top one warning or like compliance, like you've mentioned at the end, tip that you would give somebody who's trying that out? Maybe Crunchbase just as an example, but in general, like you've said.
Yeah. Take a look at, I know that we have so I would be very careful. I would never use my own credentials for this. And I would try to do, I would look for a Apify scraper. Unfortunately, there's not, oh, sorry about that. This one. And then there's also one in Zenros. Now, this one has really poor reviews. It says 99% success rate. The only thing I would keep in mind is like I would never use my own, my company's credentials. I would try to figure out how to do it via proxy if possible. And if I really had to, I would use something like browser use. So I would log into Crunchbase by myself and then have a browser use agent go through their filters and then figure this out for me. And then let's see if Zenros has a Crunchbase integration. I think they do for sure because that's one of the key things that they advertise themselves on. So I would look into these couple of tools to get Crunchbase data out of there safely.
Awesome. Thank you, Tane. Really valuable.
No worries. No worries. Can I help answer any more questions at all?
For me, I will come back with a specific use case and pick your brain.
Of course. I'm more than happy to help. Thank you. Cool. If there's nothing else, then I will end this meeting over here. If you have any questions, just DM me. And yeah, looking forward to like if there's more use cases, then bring them to me, and we can do a session where we can even just go through scraping a real live data example. So yeah, thank you so much for attending the talk, and I will see you soon.
This is awesome. Thanks, Tane.
You're so welcome, Mark. Okay, bye bye.